I always thought my girlfriend, Emily, was the most honest person I'd ever met. She wasn't perfect. Nobody is. But she was warm, funny, and had this ability to make even a quiet room feel alive. We'd been dating for a little over 2 years, and although we weren't engaged, we had talked about marriage more than once. She introduced me to her friends, she kept a toothbrush at my place, she even had a drawer in my apartment. Everything seemed normal. Until about 3 weeks ago. Emily comes from a big, loud, traditional family. They celebrate everything: birthdays, job promotions, even their dog's adoption anniversary. But the biggest event of the year is her grandmother's birthday, which basically functions as a family reunion. Emily had always told me that one day when things got serious, she would take me. I thought we were already there. Apparently, I was wrong. It all started on a Tuesday night. We were having dinner at my place, takeout from a Thai spot we loved. When she casually mentioned the upcoming family celebration, I smiled. "Finally gonna bring me, huh?" She hesitated, and it wasn't normal hesitation. It was the kind of pause where someone mentally builds a wall before they speak. "Actually, no, I don't think it's a good idea this year." I froze. "What do you mean? We've been together for 2 years. "I know," she said quickly, "but my family is complicated. There's drama and they judge everyone, and I don't want you dealing with that. I want to protect you." The explanation felt rehearsed, like she'd been repeating it to herself in the mirror. I tried to understand. I can handle a little family drama." "I said no," she snapped, then softened. "Sorry, I'm just stressed. Can we talk about something else?" I wasn't going to push her, not then. But something lodged itself in my chest and stayed there like a splinter. Over the next week, she became weird, always on her phone, turning away when I walked by, whispering during calls, declining to meet up because she was busy preparing for the event. But the thing that bothered me most, every time I asked about the party, she shut down instantly. Then came the night everything changed. Emily left her iPad at my place. Normally, I'd never snoop. I'm not that guy. But when the screen lit up with a notification preview that read, "Can't wait to finally meet the guy you've been telling us about," my stomach dropped. The message was from her cousin. I shouldn't have opened the conversation. I know that. But curiosity mixed with dread is a powerful thing. And what I found made my hands shake. There were dozens of messages, photos, voice notes, videos of decorations. And in every single one, her cousin kept mentioning the FIANCÉ, referring to him like he was already accepted as part of the family. Emily never told them about me, not once, but it got worse. Her cousin had sent a picture, a selfie of her, another cousin, and a guy I had never seen before. A guy Emily had apparently told them she was bringing as her fiancé to the celebration. And he wasn't just some random acquaintance. I recognized him. His name was Jordan. He worked at the gym Emily went to. I'd seen him around, tall, athletic, the type of guy who posts motivational quotes and shirtless mirror pictures on Instagram. Emily had introduced him to her entire extended family as her future husband. While I was sitting at home, believing she was protecting me from awkward conversations, my vision blurred, my chest felt tight. I couldn't understand it. Was she cheating? Was this some kind of prank? Was there a reason she'd lie about her relationship status to her entire family? I didn't know, and as painful as it sounds, a small part of me wished I never found out. But I had to know the truth, and I was done waiting for her to tell me. I picked up my keys, grabbed her iPad, and told myself I wasn't going to sleep until I knew why the woman I loved had replaced me with another man in front of her entire family. I drove to Emily's apartment with my heart pounding so hard it felt like it was bruising my ribs from the inside. My brain kept replaying that photo. Emily's cousin smiling next to a guy they thought was her fiancé. Her fiancé? It didn't make sense. None of it did. We hadn't fought. We hadn't taken a break. We hadn't even drifted apart. If anything, we'd been closer than ever these past few months. At least, I thought we were. When I got to her building, her car was already in the parking lot. Good. I didn't want to wait another second. I rang her doorbell, and when she opened the door, she looked surprised, but not shocked, more like annoyed. "Hey," she said cautiously. "You didn't text me you were coming." "Yeah," I replied, stepping inside. We need to talk." She noticed the iPad in my hand and instantly tensed. "Why do you have that?" "You left it at my place," I said coldly, and I saw the messages. Her face went pale. "You snooped?" "Emily, spare me the fake outrage. Who is Jordan? And why does your entire family think he's your fiancé?" She backed up until she hit the kitchen counter. Her breathing got shallow. For a moment, I thought she would deny everything. Tell me I misunderstood. Tell me it was some kind of joke or misunderstanding. But she didn't. Instead, she closed her eyes like she was in pain. "I knew this would happen," she whispered. "You knew?" I choked out. "Emily, what the hell is going on?" She ran her hands through her hair. "It's complicated." "No," I snapped. "It's pretty simple, actually. You lied to your family, to me, and now there's a guy who thinks he's your +1 fiancé to your grandmother's celebration. So explain, now." She finally opened her eyes, and what I saw wasn't guilt, it was fear. "Jordan isn't my fiancé," she said, "and I'm not dating him. It's just, my family expects all of us to get married early. They put insane pressure on me. Every year I go alone, and every year they harass me about it, asking what's wrong with me, why I'm single, why I'm not engaged yet. I couldn't take it anymore." "So you lied and told them you had a fiancé?" "Yes." "And then you picked Jordan." "I didn't pick him. He offered. He found out how stressed I was and said he'd pretend to be my fiancé to help me get my family off my back. It was supposed to be one night, just one stupid night." I stared at her, my jaw clenched. "So instead of telling them about your actual boyfriend, you chose a stranger from your gym? Do you hear how insane that sounds?" "I just didn't want them to judge you," she said softly. "They're harsh. They're elitist. They expect me to marry someone with a certain background, someone successful, someone like—" She bit her tongue too late. "Someone like Jordan?" I finished for her. The silence confirmed everything. I laughed, even though it felt like my throat was shredding. "So, I'm not good enough for your family. Is that it?" "That's not what I said." "It's exactly what you said." She shook her head desperately. "No, listen to me. I love you. I do, but my family, their opinion matters to me. Too much. I know that. I'm working on it. I just didn't want them to tear us apart." "You tore us apart," I whispered. "Not them." She looked like she was about to cry, but I was too angry to feel sympathy. "Emily, you told them you were engaged to another man. How do you expect me to just forget that?" "I wasn't thinking," she said, her voice cracking, "and I wasn't going to let him go with me. I promise. I told him I changed my mind. I told him not to come." I exhaled shakily. "So that's it? You explained it? You fixed it?" She hesitated again. Sort of." "What does sort of mean?" "I told Jordan not to come, but my family already announced the engagement. They're expecting to meet him. And they're excited. Really excited. My grandmother's been telling all her friends. They even bought gifts." My blood ran cold. "So they still think you're bringing him?" "Yes." "And you still refuse to take me? It's not like that." But it was. And in that moment, something inside me snapped. I wasn't going to sit at home while another man stood beside my girlfriend and played the role of her future husband. I deserved answers, and if she wouldn't give them willingly, I'd get them myself. "Emily," I said quietly, "what day is the celebration?" She froze. "Why?" "Because," I said, walking toward the door, "I'm going." Whether she liked it or not. I don't think Emily believed I was serious, not at first. She followed me out of her apartment, begging me to stop, insisting I didn't understand, that I'd make everything worse. But I was past listening. I got into my car and drove away as she called my name, her voice shaking. For the first time since I'd met her, I wasn't sure if I'd ever look at her the same way again. The next few days were silent between us. No calls, no texts, nothing. It was the longest we had ever gone without speaking. Part of me hoped she'd show up at my door crying, apologizing, taking everything back. But she didn't. And the closer the celebration got, the more I felt this twisted combination of anger and determination building inside me. I wasn't going there to make a scene. I wasn't going there to cause drama. I was going because I needed to know the truth. Why was she so scared to admit I existed? Why was she so willing to pretend someone else was her future? Why was a random guy better for her family than the man she supposedly loved? I needed answers, and I wasn't going to get them sitting on my couch. The celebration was held at a big event hall her family rented every year. I'd driven past it with Emily once, months ago, when she'd told me stories about how wild her family gatherings could be. If only I had known how wild things were about to get. When I pulled into the parking lot, my heart thudded like a drum in my chest. Cars everywhere. People in nice clothes walking toward the doors. Laughter echoing out into the warm evening air. I sat in my car for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, trying to steady myself. Then I saw him. Jordan. He was standing near the entrance, wearing a suit, checking his phone. He looked nervous. Very nervous. The kind of nervous that didn't fit someone going to a fake engagement introduction. So, Emily had told him not to come. But he came anyway. Or maybe she hadn't told him the whole truth. Either way, I wasn't going to lurk in the parking lot like a stalker. I got out of my car and walked straight toward him. He looked up, startled. "Oh, hey, you're her boyfriend," I finished for him. His eyes widened. "Wait, Emily said you two weren't together?" I laughed bitterly. "Yeah, I figured she told you something like that." "I swear," he said quickly, holding up his hands. "I didn't know. She told me she needed a favor. I thought I was helping. I didn't know she had a boyfriend. I studied him. He seemed sincere, annoyingly sincere. "So, why are you here?" "She asked me not to come," he admitted. "But at the last minute she texted me again. Said her family was expecting me, said she needed backup. She seemed desperate. I don't know what's going on with her, man, but I'm not trying to steal anyone's girlfriend." Something twisted in my stomach. "She texted you again? Today?" "Yeah, like 30 minutes ago." So, while she'd ghosted me for days, she'd been messaging him last-minute instructions. That hurt more than anything. Before I could say anything else, the doors to the hall swung open. Emily stepped out, and the way she froze when she saw me told me everything I needed to know. She had never expected both of us to show up. "Are you kidding me?" she whispered, eyes darting between Jordan and me. "Why are you here?" "You invited him," I said, nodding at Jordan. "So I figured I'd come too." Her face reddened with frustration. "I didn't invite him. I just told him the situation was complicated, and I might need him to explain things." "Explain what?" I snapped. "That you lied about being engaged, or that you're too ashamed to tell your family about me?" "That's not fair," she said, her voice trembling. "None of this is fair," I said. "But here we are." Jordan ran a hand through his hair, clearly uncomfortable. "Look, maybe I should go." "No," Emily said sharply. "No one's going anywhere. If you both show up separately, my family will freak out. I can fix this. I just need to think." She paced, gripping her hair, muttering to herself. Then she looked at us with a kind of resignation. "Okay, here's what's going to happen. You two will stay outside. I'll go in, calm everyone down, and then I'll bring you in one at a time so I can explain." "No," I said. "I'm done hiding. I'm done being your secret." Before she could stop me, I brushed past her and walked toward the open doors. "Wait! Wait!" she cried, running after me. But I didn't stop. If her family wanted to meet her fiancé, then they were damn well going to hear the truth. From me. The moment I stepped inside the hall, I was hit with a wave of warm air, perfume, and the loud buzz of dozens of voices overlapping. The place was decorated beautifully. String lights, floral centerpieces, a long buffet table loaded with food, and a stage at the front where Emily's grandmother sat like a queen in a sparkling shawl. Multiple heads turned when I walked in. Maybe it was because I didn't belong. Maybe it was because Emily was chasing after me, calling my name like she was trying to stop a moving train. Or maybe it was because Jordan followed us inside a second later, clearly unsure if he should stay or run. Within seconds, a woman who resembled an older version of Emily rushed toward us. "Emily, where is he? Where is your fiancé? We want to introduce him to Grandma." Her mother, Emily's face drained of color. "Mom, I can explain." "Is it that one?" her mom interrupted, pointing at Jordan. Then she noticed me standing next to him. Her eyebrows shot up. Wait, which one is he? The crowd began to circle, whispering, staring, judging, and I suddenly understood exactly what Emily meant about pressure. These people didn't just ask questions, they interrogated with their eyes. Still, none of that excused what she'd done. I cleared my throat. I'm her boyfriend, I said loud enough for everyone around to hear. The whispers exploded instantly. Emily's mother's mouth fell open. Boyfriend? Emily, what is he talking about? Emily closed her eyes like she wished she could vanish into the floor. Mom, please just let me... But before she could finish, a booming voice echoed across the hall. Emily, bring your fiancé here. Grandma wants a picture. It came from an uncle holding a giant camera like paparazzi. Emily finally snapped. Stop! She yelled, louder than I'd ever heard her. The music cut. People stared. Even her grandmother paused mid-bite. The room went silent. Emily stood frozen, breathing heavily, her eyes shiny with tears she refused to let fall. There is no fiancé, she said finally. There never was. Gasps rippled through the room. Her mother looked like someone had punched her in the stomach. What do you mean no fiancé? Her mother demanded. For months you told us... I lied! Emily screamed, then quieter. I lied. Okay. Her mother pressed her fingers to her forehead. Emily, why would you do that? Because you never listen, Emily said, her voice cracking. You judge everything I do. When I'm single, you ask me what's wrong with me. When I date someone, you ask if he's good enough. When I got promoted last year, you said it was about time. Like it wasn't even something to celebrate. Nothing I do is ever good enough. Not for you, not for anyone in this family. The hall was dead silent. Emily turned toward her grandmother. I love you, Grandma. I always have. But the pressure, this constant obsession with marriage, with appearances, it's suffocating. I couldn't handle it anymore. Her voice wavered as she looked at Jordan. So when Jordan offered to help, I said yes. I shouldn't have. I know that. But I panicked. Then her eyes found mine. And the worst part, she whispered, is that I hurt the only person who actually loves me, who never judged me, who never pressured me. My chest tightened, but I stayed quiet. Emily wiped her eyes and turned back to her family. I'm not engaged. Jordan is just a guy from my gym who was trying to help. And the man standing next to him, the one I should have brought years ago, is my actual boyfriend. Every head in the room turned to me, judging, evaluating, weighing me like some kind of item on a shelf. Emily's mother recovered first. So this is the one you hid from us? I clenched my jaw. She didn't hide me. She just didn't want you tearing us apart before you even met me. Her mother narrowed her eyes. Why would we tear you apart? Because, I said calmly, I'm not the man you imagined for her, but I'm the man she chose. The crowd erupted into quiet murmurs again. Then Emily's grandmother slowly stood from her seat, surprisingly steady for her age, and walked toward us. The entire room watched. She reached me, placed a hand on my arm, and looked up with kind, watery eyes. Are you the one who loves my granddaughter? I swallowed, then nodded. Yes, ma'am, I do. She turned to Emily. And you love him? Emily broke. She nodded as tears spilled from her cheeks. Grandma sighed, then smiled softly. Then, who cares about the rest? The room went completely still. Her mother looked stunned. An uncle choked on his drink. Someone dropped a fork. And Grandma continued, Emily, you are old enough to choose your own life. If this young man makes you happy, that's all that matters. The rest of us will adjust. The relief on Emily's face was instant, like someone just lifted a boulder off her chest. But I wasn't relieved, not yet, because she still hadn't answered my question. Why was this so easy for her to hide from me? Why was lying to her family easier than telling them the truth? And why? After everything we'd been through, did she still think Jordan was the better choice? Even though the room had softened, even though her grandmother had essentially given us her blessing, I still felt that knot of anger twisting in my gut. Emily might have calmed her family down, but she hadn't calmed me, not even close. She turned toward me, wiping her cheeks, trying to smile. Can we talk? Privately? I nodded stiffly. I wasn't going to embarrass her in front of everyone, but I also wasn't going to pretend everything was magically fine. She guided me toward a side hallway, away from the buzz of the event. People watched us go, whispering, but I ignored them. Emily shut the door behind us and leaned against it as if holding it closed would keep her world from collapsing. "I'm sorry," she whispered. I crossed my arms. "Start from the beginning, all of it, no sugarcoating." She took a shaky breath. "Okay. I didn't tell them about you in the beginning because I was scared. My family doesn't just judge people, they interrogate them. They tear them apart. They always want to know your job, your background, your parents' background, what you plan to do in 5 years, how much money you make. I hate it. I've always hated it. That still doesn't explain why you hid me for 2 years." "I know." She rubbed her temples. "It wasn't about you. It was about me. I wanted to keep something in my life separate from them, something they couldn't ruin with their opinions. You were safe. You were mine. And the moment I introduced you to them, I knew they'd try to take that away." Her voice cracked with honesty. But honesty didn't erase the sting. "You should have trusted me to handle it," I said quietly. "I'm not fragile. I'm not scared of your family." "I know you're not. I was scared for myself." She pushed her hair back, frustrated with herself. "You saw how they reacted when they thought Jordan was my fiancé. Imagine what they would have done if they knew the truth from the start. I was tired, overwhelmed, and then Jordan overheard me talking about the pressure, and he just offered to help. It felt easier in the moment." "Easier than telling the truth?" She flinched. "Yes, easier than disappointing them. Easier than watching them judge you. Easier than facing how badly I was messing things up." She slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor, hugging her knees. She looked small and lost, like a child trying to explain why she'd broken something valuable. "I didn't bring you because I wasn't ready," she whispered, "but I should have been. You deserve better." I stared at her for a long moment. "You hurt me," I finally said. She nodded immediately. "I know, and I'm so sorry. I never meant to. I love you, but I made a huge mistake." Silence filled the hallway. After a moment, she looked up. Her voice was small. "Do you hate me?" "No," I said softly. "But I don't trust you, not right now." She swallowed hard, accepting it. "I'll earn that back," she said. "I will, just tell me you're not leaving me." Before I could answer, the door behind us cracked open and Jordan peeked his head in. "Hey, sorry to interrupt, but people are asking questions. Should I go?" Emily stood. "Yes, you should go. Thank you for trying to help, but I don't need you anymore." Jordan looked relieved. "Good. 'Cause honestly, this whole thing was giving me ulcers. I'm out." He gave me a quick nod, almost respectful, and slipped back out the door. Emily exhaled shakily. "I need to clean up the mess I made. My family is confused. Some of them are furious. And my mom," she winced. "My mom is definitely going to corner me after this." "Do you want me to stay?" I asked. She nodded. "Yes, but only if you feel comfortable. I won't force you into anything. I won't hide you again. I'm done with secrets." Her eyes were sincere, broken, hopeful. And somewhere inside me, despite the pain, despite the anger, a small part softened. "Okay," I said finally. "I'll stay. But we're doing this honestly. No more lies." She nodded quickly, almost desperately. "No more lies." I opened the door, letting her walk out first. But just as we stepped back into the hall, her mother stormed toward us with fire in her eyes. "Oh God," Emily whispered, bracing herself. Her mother crossed her arms. "You, me, now." Emily gulped. "Mom, please." "No, I've had enough surprises for one evening. We're going to talk. And she pointed at me, "can come too." Emily shot me a terrified look. But I wasn't scared. If we were doing this honestly, then it was time to face the storm. Together. Emily's mother led us toward a quieter corner of the hall, near a cluster of tables stacked with wrapped gifts. Her heels clicked sharply against the floor, each step sounding like a countdown to an explosion. Emily walked beside me, shoulders tense, fingers twitching nervously. I could tell she was trying not to cry again. Her mother stopped abruptly and turned, crossing her arms with the intensity of someone about to conduct an interrogation. All right, she said sharply. Start talking, from the beginning. Emily swallowed hard. Mom, I already explained. I panicked. I felt pressured. No, her mother interrupted. I don't want excuses. I want the truth. Why did you lie to all of us? Why did you tell Grandma you were engaged? Why didn't you bring... She glanced at me. Him? Emily opened her mouth, but I stepped forward first. Because she thought you'd judge me, I said evenly. Her mother blinked, surprised by my bluntness. And would you? I added. She hesitated, and that hesitation was the only answer we needed. Emily covered her face with both hands. Mom, I told you. You always expect perfection. You nitpick every detail of my life. I knew you would analyze him, his job, his family, everything. I just wanted one peaceful year. Just one. Her mother frowned. Emily, you know we love you. We only want what's best. Your version of what's best, Emily snapped. Not mine. Her mother opened her mouth, then shut it, caught off guard. I decided it was time to push further. Mrs. Harper, I said calmly, I'm not perfect. I don't come from some wealthy family. I don't have a high-status career. But none of that should matter if your daughter is happy. Her mother looked at me skeptically. And are you the reason she lied to all of us? No, I said. The pressure you put on her is... Emily grabbed my hand, grateful. But her mother's eyes sharpened. You're blaming us? Her own family? She asked, insulted. I'm saying you don't realize the weight you put on her shoulders, I replied. She was scared you wouldn't approve, scared you'd tear us apart before giving me a chance. Her mother's lips tightened. Before she could respond, Emily finally broke. Mom, I can't be perfect for you anymore, she said, her voice trembling. I can't keep chasing your approval like it's the only thing that matters. I lied because I was drowning. I lied because I didn't want to disappoint you again. Her mother's expression softened ever so slightly. Emily, you should have told us how you felt. You don't listen, Emily whispered. Every time I try, you brush it off or compare me to my cousins. Her mother exhaled slowly, guilt flickering across her face. She turned to me again, studying me like she was seeing me for the first time. What is your name? She asked. Ryan. What do you do, Ryan? Software technician. Nothing glamorous, I said, purposely honest. Her mother nodded slowly. And you love my daughter? Yes, I said without hesitation. Enough to stay after all this? I looked at Emily, her eyes red, her face tired, her expression terrified of my answer. Yes, I said softly. But things need to change. Emily let out a breath she'd been holding for days. Her mother considered my words. And for the first time since I arrived, I saw something close to humility in her eyes. I suppose, she said reluctantly, we share responsibility for this mess. We pushed too hard, expected too much. I never wanted Emily to feel like she had to lie to us. Emily sniffed. Thank you for saying that. Her mother sighed. Well, you made quite the impression tonight, Ryan. Not many people would walk into a room like that and stand their ground. Honestly, I didn't walk in for them. I looked at Emily. I walked in for her. Her mother nodded once, firm but approving. Then stay. Both of you. Grandma wants a photo with the real couple. Emily laughed weakly, half in disbelief. Really? Her mother almost smiled. She said if you lied again, she'd chase you around the hall with her cane. We all chuckled, awkward but genuine. Emily reached for me, slipping her fingers between mine. Thank you, she whispered, for not giving up on me. I brushed her cheek with my thumb. We're not done talking about all this. Not even close. I know, she said softly, and I'm ready. As we walked back toward the main room, the music slowly returned, conversations resumed, and the tension began to dissolve into something warmer. For the first time all night, Emily didn't look scared. She looked free. But as her family gathered around us, taking pictures, asking questions, laughing loudly, I noticed one person standing alone near the back of the hall. Her father, watching us, expression unreadable, and something told me, our night wasn't over yet. Emily squeezed my hand as we made our way back into the main hall. People were smiling now, awkwardly, cautiously, but smiling. The tension had faded enough for the celebration to breathe again. Grandma waved at us from her table, insisting we come over for a photo. A few aunts gave me polite nods, the kind you give someone you're still evaluating, but at least now it wasn't hostile. Still, her father's stare felt like a spotlight drilling into my back. He was standing near the back wall, arms crossed, posture rigid. Unlike her mother's expressive face, his was unreadable, zero emotion, just cold observation. Emily noticed too because her steps slowed. "Oh God," she whispered. "He's the one I was most scared about." "Why?" I asked quietly. "He's traditional, very traditional. He's strict, private, and believes reputation is everything. He was the one who always pushed the hardest." "Then let's go talk to him." Emily stopped abruptly. "Ryan, no, not yet. Let him cool down." But he didn't give us the chance. He stepped forward, his gaze fixed on me, and said in a low, firm voice, "Ryan, join me outside." Not a question, a command. Emily instantly tensed and shook her head. "Dad, please." "Emily," he said sternly, "stay here." My instinct told me this wasn't going to be easy, but I nodded and followed him toward a side exit. As soon as the door closed behind us, the cool night air hit my face. The muffled sounds of the party faded, replaced by the hum of traffic in the distance. Emily's father stood with his back to me, staring out across the parking lot. After a moment, he spoke. "You caused quite the scene tonight." "I didn't mean to," I said calmly. "I just wanted the truth to come out." He turned around, his eyes hard. "The truth? The truth is you embarrassed my family. You embarrassed my daughter. You barged into a private celebration and forced everyone into a spectacle." "With respect," I replied, "I didn't force anything. The lies were already there. I just refused to be another one." His jaw tightened. "You think you did her a favor? Emily was humiliated." "No," I said firmly. She was relieved. She finally stopped suffocating under pressure. The corner of his lip twitched, almost a scoff. "You misunderstand," he said. "Pressure builds strength, discipline. Expectations lead to success. Without them, people drift." "Or break," I countered. He frowned, clearly not used to being challenged. "I know you think you were protecting her," I continued, "but all she wanted was room to breathe. She was terrified to show me to you because she thought you'd reject me before I even opened my mouth." "And do you blame her?" he asked. "No," I said. "I blame the environment that made her feel that way." He took a step closer, looking me up and down. "What exactly do you bring to her life, Ryan? What guarantees can you offer her? Stability? Status? Respect?" I swallowed the instinctive defensiveness and answered honestly. "I can't promise wealth," I said, "or status, or some polished image you can brag about to relatives." I took a step forward too, meeting his stare. "But I can promise I love your daughter. I can promise I support her, listen to her, and won't treat her like a trophy or a resume item. I can promise she'll never have to lie to me to feel accepted." He didn't respond, but something in his eyes shifted, barely noticeable. But there, I continued. "I didn't come tonight to pick a fight. I came because the woman I love was hurting, and if that means facing the entire family, or you, or anyone else who thinks I'm not enough, then fine, I'll do it, every time." Silence hung between us, heavy, thick. Then, finally, he exhaled. "You know, Emily once told me she wanted someone who made her feel safe," he said quietly. "Someone who wouldn't try to control her." He looked down as if replaying old conversations. "I didn't realize she felt she needed protection from her own family." His voice cracked slightly, just enough to reveal something human behind the armor. He looked back up at me. "You didn't handle tonight perfectly," he said, "but you stood by her, and that matters." It wasn't acceptance, but it wasn't rejection either. He extended his hand slowly. I shook it. As we headed back toward the doors, he stopped me once more. "One more thing," he said. "If you ever hurt her, I won't need to tell you what happens." I smirked. "Trust me, If I ever hurt her, you won't have to come after me. I'll already hate myself more than you could." For the first time, her father almost smiled. Almost. When we re-entered the hall, Emily rushed toward us, breathless. "What happened? Are you okay?" Her father placed a hand on her shoulder. "We talked," he said simply. "Let's continue the celebration." Emily blinked, stunned. "You talked?" He nodded once, then walked away toward his seat. She turned to me, eyes wide. "What did you say to him?" "Nothing you wouldn't want me to," I said with a small smile. She exhaled shakily and wrapped her arms around me. But before we could rejoin the others, her grandmother waved us over urgently. "Come, come! I want a picture with my granddaughter and her real young man." Emily laughed, and for the first time all night, it reached her eyes. As we posed for the photo, surrounded by her loud, chaotic family, I realized something. We weren't done with the hard conversations, but we were finally on the same side. Together, the family celebration slowly returned to normal. Well, as normal as it could after the drama Emily and I had inadvertently unleashed. But something had shifted. People weren't whispering anymore. They weren't glaring or speculating or waiting for the next scandal to explode. Instead, they approached us with cautious curiosity. A few asked polite questions. A couple of aunts offered awkward apologies. One uncle clapped me on the back so hard I almost choked. Even her mother, after cooling down, brought me a plate of food with a soft, uneasy smile. But the moment that stayed with me came later in the evening. As the music mellowed and the cake had been cut, Emily and I slipped outside for a breath of fresh air. The sky was dark and clear, the kind of quiet night that swallows sound and forces honesty into the open. She leaned against my shoulder, her voice soft. "Thank you for staying. I know you didn't have to. I know I didn't deserve it." I wrapped an arm around her. "Emily, I didn't stay for the family. I stayed for you." She looked up, her eyes searching mine. "Are we okay?" I paused, because the truth mattered, especially now. "We're on the path," I said. "But trust takes time. I need to believe you won't hide me again, that you won't choose the easy lie over the hard truth." Her eyes shimmered with guilt and determination. "I won't," she whispered. "I promise. No more lies, no more secrets. I want a life with you, not a life that pleases everyone else." "Good," I said softly, "because I want that too." She smiled, small but genuine, and rested her forehead against mine. But our quiet moment didn't last long. The door behind us opened, and her grandmother stepped outside, leaning on her cane. "I hope I'm not interrupting anything," she said warmly. Emily laughed. "Never, Grandma." Her grandmother looked at us, her expression shifting into something more serious. "I want to say something," she said. "Both of you listen carefully." We nodded. "When I was young," she began, "I did everything my parents told me to do. I married a man they approved of, a man with a good job, a good family name, and a polite smile." Emily raised an eyebrow. "Grandpa?" Grandma smiled sadly. "Yes. Your grandfather? He was a good man, a stable man, but he was not the man I loved." Emily's eyes widened. "I loved someone else," her grandmother continued. "Someone who made me laugh, who challenged me, who saw me for who I was. But my family didn't approve. They said he wasn't good enough. So I let him go." She looked at Emily with a mixture of regret and wisdom. "And I regretted that decision my entire life." Emily's breath hitched. "Grandma," her grandmother placed a gentle hand on her cheek. "Don't repeat my mistake. Don't live for us. Don't love for us. Love for yourself." Then she turned to me. "And you, young man, don't let her run away next time. She's got a stubborn streak the size of this entire state." Emily laughed through her tears. I smiled. Even the stars seemed to brighten at her words. Grandma tapped her cane on the ground. "Come inside before I freeze. You two have stolen enough attention tonight. Let others have a turn." As she went back in, Emily wrapped her arms around me. "You know," she whispered, "I think tonight might be the first time in years I felt like I could breathe in that room." Then we did something right. She pulled back slightly, a quiet smile forming. "Ryan, Would you hate me if I said that despite everything, I'm glad you came? I kissed her forehead. I'm glad I did too. Inside, the music picked up again. Laughter spread across the hall. Her father was talking to her mother in what looked like a calmer tone. A few cousins waved at us through the window. It felt like a beginning, not a perfect one, not a fairy tale, but a real, honest beginning. Emily took my hand. Ready? Ready? We walked back inside, together this time, side by side. No more hiding, no more lies. And for the first time all evening, the entire room welcomed us. Not as a fake couple, not as a scandal, not as a lie someone invented to escape pressure, but as us. And that finally was enough. The end.